Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. So, come in, rest your swords, rest your shields. Take off your shoes. Okay, take off your shoes. And we're gonna have a brief discussion, man. Come in, we got some food in the kitchen. Yes. We got some turkey burgers. We don't really eat that too often, but we're gonna eat that, with an egg and some peppers. Yeah, just mix it all together like a omelet. But today, we're gonna be speaking about what did we learn from COVID, right? Because it was a lot of people that got the jab, right? My personal experience with it was, how can I say this? I didn't take it, of course, but there's a lot of people that did. Well, I was aware it was a lot of women that did. So at the time of COVID, I was working at a call center. And at this call center, right, it was mostly women. During this time, I had a team lead, and he was literally studying to be a scientist. And he always goes back and forth to Japan. Long story short, good thing he was my team lead because he spoke to, the managers, and we didn't feel the pressure of taking a shot. People on my team did not feel the pressure at all. Now everybody else, their team lead did. Their team lead some of their team leads were convincing them to take it, and different things. So at first, people's were getting threatened. And that worked for some people. It was enough for some people to be like, you know what, I'm just going to take it. And then once they couldn't get those people, the rest of the people, they did one other thing. And then after that, then they bribed them $500. Now, there was a guy, he was tall, handsome dude. He was telling these women not to take the shot. You know what I'm saying? Not to take the jab and everything. And, some of them still took it. You know what I'm saying? And, I figured they would listen to him. But it seemed like they didn't, including when the money got involved. And also, my team lead didn't believe in it, neither. So that's the reason why we didn't have to take it. So he was fighting for us because of his own personal belief, but also because he goes to school for stuff like that. And that's the thing. That's how God works in my favor, So yeah, a lot of people took it that was at the job that I worked at. And these are, very attractive women as well. And it made me think, like, what would make them take it? Did they have the right man in their life to protect them mentally from making a decision that could possibly be detrimental, right? So, that was my experience. Really, like, I think my rent was paid for. I didn't have to pay my rent for a long period of time. And it was pretty cool. I got a chance to stay in a house and work on my book. It was so deep, man. Like, that was so deep. I had like 2 phases of that as well, because also when COVID first hit, and they just wanted people to stay home. I was working at one call center, that was like out in Buckhead, and they allowed us to work from home, and that was pretty dope. Yeah, that was like the beginning of it. I was working from home. Yeah, 5 days a week. It was lit. I'm not gonna sit up here and hold you. It was really cool. So yeah, I just knew that when it came time for the shots and when people needed another job or so on, yeah, people was taking it, and they were being persuaded and bribed to take it. And around that same time, there was a couple of people that left the States. They felt like something was going to happen, and that was the thing, so some of those people did. Some of those people that did feel like something was going to happen, they mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? I remember Farrakhan saying something about 2020. But you know what I'm saying? When certain people speak, it is good to listen, right? So, long story short, what did we learn from it, right? It was a lot of other things that happened, which I might speak on. I want to give this one a test run just to make sure, it's kind of safe to say, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, actually certain things I might just eventually have a Patreon for, so we could really get into the depths of a lot of stuff. But what did we learn from it? We learned that there was a lot of people that say they believed in God, and now let me put it like this. What I learned from it was people could be hypocritical, when it comes to their religion and what they study and what they choose to, embody. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody fully has faith in God or willing to compromise certain things. I learned that people, they use fear, and fear does control a lot of people. Fear of people not having money, fear of people not having a job, so I think that was very, very interesting. I also learned that, staying in the house is a cool thing, you know what I'm saying? Being in the house was a cool thing, like being in my apartment. Just working from home is a very comfortable thing, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't even have to, leave out the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's ill, You don't even have to leave outside of the house. So that's dope. You save a lot more money when you're inside of the house. You don't have to go out and eat as much. So you could fast if you want to fast, and you could save a lot of money when you work from home. Yeah. So, another thing I learned from COVID was, this is something that I already knew, but this is what I feel people should have learned, is that don't just put anything in your body without doing your research. And that just really goes for anything as well, which we can apply in multiple ways. Like, don't allow people in your life, without properly vetting them or getting to know them. Don't allow things inside of our bodies, because if we know we're not educated enough to check what is going inside, then why put it in our body, right? I think we should have learned not to trust the news, that influencers can be manipulated to promote a product that isn't healthy for us. I remember it was like Juvenile or something called it. Vax that ass up. That was crazy. I believe it was politicians and a couple other people promoting it. But that was probably like the biggest pandemic thing I think we went through. Epidemic, whatever you want to call it. So that was really crazy. And then come to find out, people could, basically, they were saying that it could sterilize people and it lowers people's immune system and so on. And I was just like, damn, if that's the case, they were saying it also could be transferred through sex. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was in the vaccine might not be as strong, and they go through some type of shedding process and there's some type of spike protein that it could possibly be reversed, you know what I'm saying? But who knows, you know what I'm saying? Long story short, yeah, it's been deep, man. That whole thing was deep. It was so crazy because I had met a chick at the museum and we was kicking it, and I was working from home and she would come over and we'll have our fun. And this one girl, because me, my ass was being greedy. One girl from my job, she needed a place to work. You know what I'm saying? And she had got kicked out of crib or something, so I allowed her to work at my spot. But then I was like, the other girl I was with wasn't feeling that. So she stopped coming over and we stopped talking. And I really had me I should have just never did that because, girl, I really like homegirl too. We could have had a lot of fun. We was having fun, but then the fun stopped. It's like the dumbest thing I could have did. But, I'm thinking that she might be cool with it or whatever, but she wasn't going. But yeah, man, during that whole phase, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. They was telling people to stay in the house. Everybody was wearing a mask. You had women wearing a whole goddamn box on their head, like a whole quarantine box on their head. The news was saying people was dying from it. Then they said there was some fake news. It was intense, man. It was really intense. Like, it was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. So, what did we learn from the jab? What did we learn from COVID? What did we learn from it? Is it something that's still playing out now? Is it something that affects our psychology, not our biology? Because they say, yeah, it deals with spike protein and so on. But what if it's other stuff? But anyway, yeah, that was an interesting time, and I just think that I should have definitely done a podcast about it because, like I said, what did we learn from it? We learned that we can't just be out here talking to everybody, ingesting everything, because you don't know what's in it. There were also preachers, that were inspiring people to take this thing. So it's like, how strong was your discernment, or is your discernment when it comes to protecting your people? Are some of these men really knowledgeable that these women date to protect them mentally? Do our women want to be protected? So, what did we learn from that? What did we learn? Man, that was a time and everybody was wearing a mask. I don't think I had caught COVID. I think I had got sick, but it wasn't like nothing crazy. Like, I was doing a lot of coughing, but my taste didn't go away, my smell didn't go away. I wasn't sick, but I felt like it was harder